Ever since me and my girlfriend started going out, she's always said she hates Apple devices and she's always going to have Androids. And me, on the other hand, I love my Apple devices. I mean, I think they might be a bit overpriced sometimes, but I really like the way they work, so that's why I have them. So after months of saying she's never going to have one, yesterday she bit the bullet and went to order herself a shiny iPad Mini 2. Yeah, go figure. So anyway, since I owned the bigger brother of it, the iPad Air, I thought it'd be a fantastic time to actually do a comparison between the two products because the differences are not as much as you might imagine. So stay tuned and I'm going to do a breakdown of these two products to decide which one would actually suit your needs the best. Quickly before we actually compare the two devices, it's worth just doing a very quick unboxing of the iPad Mini. Now, these accessories are actually quite light. Apart from the actual iPad itself, which obviously you're going to expect, all you get is the 3-pin charger if you're in the UK, an instruction manual, and the Lightning USB cable. And that's it, no earbuds or anything else, so it's very light on accessories that's included with it. Comparing the two devices side by side, there's very little to differentiate them. In fact, if I took one of the devices away, you'd have a hard time telling which one I was actually showing. On the outside, the layout is identical. They both have the home button here and the FaceTime camera at the top. Underneath, they both have the speakers left and right with the Lightning connector in the middle. And if we come around to the side, we have a volume down, volume up, and this can be configured as a rotation lock or a mute button. And we find the exact same thing on the Mini 2. And at the top we have a headphone jack, a microphone and a power switch. If we flip them over to the back, they look almost identical. In fact, they are identical because this model is a 4G enabled one. So it has this black bar at the top. Now if you got the Wi-Fi only iPad Air, it would look identical to the Mini. So really externally, the only difference is the physical size of the units themselves. The similarities don't end there either. Internally, they are the exact same. In fact, let's turn both of these on together. They have the same A7 processor that's found in the iPhone 5S. They have the same 2048 by 1536 pixel screen. However, since the iPad Mini 2's display is 7.9 inch compared to the Air's 9.7, it's 1.8 inches smaller, and this means the pixel density is increased from 264 ppi up 62 ppi to the 326 found in the iPad Mini. So this in reality means that it's going to look a little bit sharper. It's going to look a little bit better. However, when I look at these myself, I can't see the difference. Both screens are absolutely beautiful. They have really nice sharpness. Even the iPad Air with its bigger screen, it still looks really sharp. The colours are really vibrant, and I wouldn't let the pixel density be a deciding factor in this, although it's most probably the only specification it's worth noting that's different. Now obviously this is going to be a heavier device being bigger. It's 469 grams, it's was it 138 grams heavier than the Mini. The Mini sits at 331. So yeah, over a period of time you will find a difference in the weight in your hands. The Air is still incredibly light for its size. If you compare it to the iPad 4 which you replaced, the difference is quite extreme really. So for a 10-inch tablet, it's still really nice to hold. So really, if we find that everything's the same, even the storage options are the same. We both have 16 and 32 gigabyte models available to us. The 64 and 128 gigs have been discontinued since the Mini 3's out and the iPad Air 2, and they've taken over those top spots. So the high capacity is no longer available. For example, this one is 128 gigabytes of 4G. You can't buy this model anymore. But if we're comparing like for like the equivalent models, we find that the iPad Air is about, well, it is £80 more expensive than the Mini for the same storage capacity. So you're literally paying £80 more for a bigger screen. So the performance should be identical between the two devices really. So this comes down to what device do you want? How are you going to use them in the real world? Well, we find in the way we handle the two devices it's different. I find that the iPad Air is nice and light to hold with one hand. That's good still. We can operate of holding around like this. Where the old iPad 4 used to get quite heavy and cumbersome. However, it's a little bit too big to try and hold with one hand, at least for me. Some people will get their hands around it, but I can't really hold this up without eventually falling out of my hands. So it is too big for one-handed use like that. You do have to grip around the side of the screen, and this may mean it's slippier than the Mini, which happily fits around the hand. So it's much nicer to walk around like a book or something like that and operate to get a much more secure grip. So this, if you're on the move, may be a much better option than the Air. And this really comes down to what are you going to do with the two devices. You know, if you're going to do a lot of watching video or you want a laptop replacement, then yeah, the bigger 10-inch screen is going to be better, especially if you're going to be like using stuff like, you know, Microsoft Office and using stuff like Excel to view spreadsheets and that. So the bigger screen is going to be much nicer for that. However, you know, if you just you need something you're going to use on a train, then the Mini is going to be fine for you. It's going to be better. It's going to be nicer to pick out of your pockets or your bag. It's still a bit big for pocket use, really. But if you want to read a book or something, it's going to be less strenuous on your hand after half an hour or an hour, and it's not going to be as noticeable. Final thing worth noting is that the battery life is pretty much identical between the two, so there's no advantage there. There is the same camera, front and back. It literally is a smaller version. There's no positioning of the iPad Air to be the flagship model over the Mini. They are pretty much positioned to be the exact same device, just with a bigger screen. So there we have it, guys. There's no difference, apart from the size. That's all there is. So, if you're still undecided what you need to do, go down to your local, you know, electronics shop and go and pick one up in your hands and just feel the difference. Because that is literally, just get the one that feels the nicest to you. And just look at what you're going to be using it for. Remember, videos, maybe in the house, full screen things, this is the best one to go for. And if you have the extra £80, and this is upside down. Portability, keeping your bag, weight, one-handed use, definitely go for the iPad Mini for that. I'd save yourself the £80 and stick it into a nice case or some applications or something like that. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful. I'm sorry I can't pull more difference in the tech specs, they are literally identical devices. So anyway, leave a comment or like this video if you like it, dislike it if you don't, and hit the subscribe button. That type of thing really helps us out. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon.